Ever fantasized about ditching the 9 to 5 and running a business from, like, a beach in Bali? Or maybe just from your couch? Well, these days, it's totally doable.
Oh, yeah. There's a massive shift toward remote work happening right now. Building a thriving business from anywhere, it's more possible than ever.
For me, I think the biggest draw to this whole remote-friendly business thing is the freedom. Like, imagine setting your own hours, working from wherever, and actually creating a lifestyle that really fits you.
It's a huge shift.
But then there's the money side too, right?
Right.
No expensive office, maybe lower overhead in general. I feel like it's a game changer for anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur.
Definitely. Those cost savings can be a big incentive, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about access to talent all over the world.
Oh, that's true.
You're not limited to just hiring people locally anymore.
You can really build your dream team.
Find the perfect fit no matter where they are.
Instead of just whoever's around in your city? Wow, that's a game changer. But I'm guessing this remote business thing isn't one size fits all, right?
Nope.
So how do you even start to pick the right business model?
Well, not all businesses are made for remote work. It really comes down to you, your skills, your interests, and what you're aiming for.
Let's get into some popular options then. What about freelance services? Seems like a natural fit for remote work. Writing, graphic design, virtual assistants, tons of variety.
Absolutely.
How do you stand out, though? I mean, it's a pretty crowded market, isn't it?
Niching down.
Niching down.
You got to showcase that unique expertise you have. So let's say you're a writer. Instead of being a generalist, zero in on something specific, an industry, a type of writing, technical writing, copywriting for e-commerce, whatever. You can charge more and attract clients who really value that.
Makes sense. Become the expert in one thing.
Exactly.
Okay, what about those folks who are always launching courses or selling ebooks, the digital nomad types?
Right.
Is that really the passive income dream everyone says it is?
Digital products like courses, ebooks, even software, they're super appealing because you have that leverage. Create it once and it can bring in money 24/7. But it's not like you just sit back and relax once the product's out there. You still have to market it,
So no margaritas on the beach just yet.
Well, maybe later. But yeah, you got to put in the work.
What are some good marketing tactics for digital products?
Content marketing is huge. Social media too, and email lists. You need to build an audience that trusts you.
That makes sense.
Partnering up with others in your niche can really help too.
Got it. Okay, so maybe not margaritas on the beach right away. What about e-commerce? I know people running online stores from their laptops.
Yeah.
But I always thought that meant tons of inventory and shipping nightmares.
That's where dropshipping comes in.
Dropshipping?
You basically sell stuff without having to keep any inventory yourself.
Wait, really? Yep. You partner with a supplier who takes care of all that. You focus on the marketing and customer service side of things?
So I could launch a store tomorrow without ever even touching a physical product.
Pretty much.
Wow. But is dropshipping even still a good option? Seems like everyone's doing it.
It has gotten more competitive, that's for sure. But if you find the right niche, focus on good quality, and build a strong brand, there's still plenty of opportunity. And then there's print on demand, too.
Okay.
It's similar, but instead of selling ready-made stuff, you design your own things.
Yeah.
T-shirts, mugs, phone cases, and they only get printed when someone orders.
So less risk.
Exactly, because you're not buying tons of inventory up front.
That makes sense. Okay, what about the tech folks?
The techies.
Building software, apps, all that. Can you actually do that remotely?
Absolutely. SaaS, software as a service, is huge right now. And a lot of those companies are fully remote. It can be really rewarding building something people actually subscribe to.
Okay, that's a lot of info. Freelance, digital products, e-commerce, SaaS, so many options. There really are.
How do you actually choose the right one for you?
Well, you got to start with yourself. What skills can you use to make money? What are you passionate about? What do you actually enjoy doing? Because who wants to build a business around something they hate, right?
So true. So true. And I guess who you're trying to serve matters too.
Definitely.
Like who's your target audience?
You got to understand their needs.
Makes sense. Okay, let's say I've figured out my business model, my dream business. What are the first steps?
First things first, you need to protect yourself.
Right.
Legally, I mean. Register your business, as an LLC. It's a pretty simple process, and it'll protect your personal stuff from any business debts or lawsuits.
So an LLC is like a safety net.
Pretty much.
What about money? Should I keep my business money separate?
Absolutely. Get a separate book account for your business. It just makes everything cleaner, from accounting to taxes.
I've heard some horror stories about people mixing their finances.
It's a mess you don't want.
No, thank you. Okay, how about getting paid? What should people know about choosing, like, a payment system?
You want to think about fees, ease of use, what features different providers offer. Stripe, PayPal, Square, those are popular options, but they all have pros and cons. Think about whether you need to handle international payments, recurring subscriptions, things like that.
It sounds more complicated than I thought.
It's not too bad once you get the hang of it.
Okay, good. So we've got the legal stuff, the money stuff. What about the tech tools? The stuff that actually makes your business run? What are the must-haves for a remote operation?
Communication is key, especially when you're working with a team that's all over the place.
Right.
Tools like Slack, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, those are essential.
I'm all about Slack these days, but I guess video calls are important too, right?
Definitely. It's good to see each other's faces, builds rapport, helps communication flow better, especially for brainstorming or complex topics. And then there's project management tools like Asana, Trello, Notion.
Notion, that's my favorite.
They're great for keeping everyone on the same page.
Staying organized.
Exactly.
What about the financial side? Am I still using spreadsheets and shoeboxes?
Thankfully, no.
Okay, good.
Cloud-based accounting software like QuickBooks, Wave, FreshBooks.
Right, I've heard of those.
They make managing your money so much easier. Invoices, expenses, you can see your whole financial picture anytime, anywhere.
So no more shoeboxes full of receipts.
Unless you really want to.
I'm good.
Okay, but it's not enough to just have great tools, right? People need to know about your business. How do you build a strong online presence and attract those customers?
First things first, you need a website.
Okay.
A professional one. Luckily, platforms like Squarespace, Wix, or WordPress make it pretty easy to build one, even if you don't know how to code.
True. I built mine on Squarespace. It was pretty easy.
See?
Not so bad.
But a website's not enough, right? You gotta get social too.
Oh, for sure. Social media is super powerful for connecting with your audience, building your brand, and getting people to your website. Pick the platforms where your ideal customers are hanging out.
Right, so LinkedIn for businesses, Instagram for visual stuff.
Exactly. But it's not just about posting pretty pictures. You need to build real relationships.
How do you do that?
Email marketing is still one of the best ways. Build those relationships, nurture your leads, and drive those sales. Tools like MailChimp or ConvertKit make it easy to run targeted campaigns and automate a lot of it.
Oh, okay, so we've got the website, the social media strategy, the email marketing. It feels like we're really getting somewhere. But what happens when you can't do it all yourself? When does it make sense to start thinking about a team?
It's a question every entrepreneur asks. Are you working all the time, feeling overwhelmed, like you're spread too thin?
Oh, yeah?
Those are signs you might need some help.
Makes sense. But finding reliable people remotely, that can feel tough. Where do you even start looking?
Luckily, there are more resources than ever. Upwork and Fiverr are great for finding freelancers. If you're looking for top-tier talent, try TopTal. And job boards like We Work Remotely, they're specifically for remote positions.
Okay, so lots of options.
Tons of options.
But once you have your team, how do you actually manage them when everyone's in different places, different time zones?
Communication is key.
Right, makes sense.
And you want to over-communicate. It's always better to have too much information than not enough.
So it's not just giving people tasks and hoping for the best.
Definitely not. Be super clear about roles, deadlines, how you communicate, regular check-ins individually and as a team. Those are really important too.
It's about building that accountability.
Absolutely.
But how do you build that team spirit when everyone's remote?
Yeah.
It's easy to feel isolated, even in a regular office.
Oh, for sure. Creating a positive, inclusive culture is huge. Encourage people to connect beyond just work stuff. Virtual team building, social calls, even just a chat channel for non-work stuff, it can make a big difference.
It's like creating those water cooler moments, but online.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. From picking the right business model to building your team. When we come back, we'll be tackling how to scale a remote business and take your entrepreneurial dreams to the next level.
I'm excited to get into it.
All right, we're back. We've laid the groundwork for building a remote-friendly business. But let's be real, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, is it?
You always know.
It takes a certain kind of grit to launch and grow any business. And I imagine those qualities are even more important when you're dealing with the unique challenges of working remotely.
Absolutely. Building a business, especially remotely, can feel like a roller coaster. Ups and downs, it's how you handle those challenges that makes all the difference.
So what would you say to someone who's feeling a bit overwhelmed or maybe even intimidated by this whole remote business thing? What kind of mindset shifts can help them navigate those ups and downs?
Well, first off, embrace learning. Always be learning. The online world changes so fast, you got to stay ahead of the game. Read blogs, listen to podcasts, take those online courses. Never stop learning.
I love that. It's not just about picking up new skills, but it's about that growth mindset, right?
God.
Being willing to adapt as your business grows, staying curious.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. The remote entrepreneur community is incredibly supportive. People are always willing to share their knowledge.
Networking, even in the remote world, is so important.
It really is. It's easy to feel isolated when you're working from home, but those online communities, virtual events, masterminds, they're lifesavers.
And mentors too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Finding someone who's been there, done that, it's invaluable. They can guide you, support you, hold you accountable.
Okay, so we're learning, networking, finding mentors. What other mindset traps should remote entrepreneurs watch out for?
Perfectionism. It can be a real killer.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
You get so caught up in making everything perfect before you launch, before you share it with the world.
I'm so guilty of that.
But the truth is, done is better than perfect. Just get it out there.
You can always improve things later, right?
Exactly. Iterate, improve as you go. Focus on progress, not perfection. And don't let the fear of messing up hold you back.
It's so easy to get stuck in that fear.
Yes.
Especially when it's your first time starting a business. But mistakes happen. That's how we learn.
Couldn't agree more. See challenges as opportunities. Experiment. Try new things.
And celebrate those wins, no matter how small.
Right, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in the daily grind and forget to celebrate.
That's so true. Okay, let's talk about a challenge that pretty much every remote worker faces: time management. It's so easy to get distracted when your office is also your heart. You know, laundry, Netflix, that fully stocked fridge.
Oh, I know it. You need structure. Routine.
Okay.
Even if you love the flexibility of remote work, having a dedicated workspace, setting boundaries between work and personal time, it makes a huge difference.
I used to think working from home meant I could work whenever I wanted. But without some structure, I was always distracted, never really off.
Right. It's about being intentional.
So what are some good strategies for managing your time effectively?
Prioritize. Start your day by figuring out what absolutely needs to get done and tackle those things first. Time blocking can be really helpful too. Schedule chunks of time for specific tasks and stick to it as much as you can.
It's like treating your workday like an actual workday, even if you're in your PJs.
Exactly.
What about tech tools? Anything that can help with this?
Oh, tons. Pomodoro timers, task management apps like Todoist or Asana, website blockers like Freedom if you're prone to, social media black holes.
It's like a virtual assistant for your willpower.
Pretty much.
Okay, so we're structured, organized, using our tech tools.
Yeah.
But even then, challenges are going to pop up, right? What are some of the biggest hurdles remote entrepreneurs face?
Yeah.
And how can they overcome them?
Loneliness, isolation, those are common ones. Be proactive about it. Join those online communities, go to virtual events, schedule calls with colleagues, friends. Even just getting out of the house for a bit can help.
Human connection is so important, especially when you're spending most of your day staring at a screen.
Definitely. We're social creatures. It's vital.
What about work-life balance? I imagine it's even harder when your work and home life are so blended.
You're right. It's easy to work all the time when your office is your living room. Set boundaries. Have clear work hours and stick to them. Turn off those notifications when you're off work. Create little rituals to mark the end of the day.
Like going for a walk, cooking dinner.
Exactly. Signal to yourself that work is done.
Okay, what about dealing with distractions? I know I get sidetracked by everything. Laundry, dishes, a nice day outside.
Distractions are productivity killers. First, figure out what your biggest ones are. Then come up with strategies to minimize them. Website blockers for social media, noise-canceling headphones, maybe even setting boundaries with family or roommates.
Creating that separation, even if it's just mental.
It helps a lot.
What about the distractions that come from within, like self-doubt, fear?
The inner critic. Every entrepreneur has one. Acknowledge those feelings, but don't let them take over. Remember why you started this. Focus on your wins. Build that supportive community around you.
And maybe reframe those negative thoughts, right? Instead of seeing them as failures, see them as opportunities to learn and grow.
I love that.
Okay, we talked about individual challenges, but I imagine those are amplified when you're managing a team remotely. How do you ensure everyone's communicating clearly? especially across different time zones.
Over-communicate, always. It's better to have too much information than not enough. Use different communication channels, email for formal stuff, instant messaging for quick updates, video calls for meetings or deeper discussions.
Right tool for the right job.
Exactly.
But what happens when conflicts or misunderstandings pop up? It's so much easier to sort things out in person.
Encourage open communication, have clear ways to resolve conflicts. Active listening, empathy, willingness to compromise, those are key no matter where you're working.
It's all about communication and trust. But how do you build that trust when you're not seeing each other face-to-face every day?
Team building activities, even virtual ones, can help. And remember, building a strong team takes time. It's an ongoing process.
Okay, let's talk about something more exciting. Success. What are the key ingredients for building a thriving remote business?
Vision. You need a clear vision. What are you building? Why? Who are you building it for? And you need a solid plan, a business plan that outlines all the details. Your target market, how you'll make money, your marketing, your financials.
So it's not just about having a great idea. You need a roadmap to turn that idea into a real business.
Absolutely. And you need to be adaptable. The online world is always changing, so you got to be able to pivot, adjust your strategy, and learn from your mistakes.
Adaptability is key in any business, really.
Okay.
But how do you get the word out? How do you market your business and attract those customers in the vastness of the internet?
So many ways. Content marketing, social media, email marketing, paid ads, influencers, even just good old-fashioned networking. The key is finding what works for your business, for your audience, and focusing your energy there.
It's about finding that right mix, right? And always experimenting to see what connects with your customers.
Yep.
But in such a noisy online world, how do you stand out? How do you build a brand that people actually connect with?
Be authentic. People can sniff out a fake from a mile away. Be yourself. Share your story. Connect with your audience on a personal level. Let your personality shine through.
I love that. Authenticity is so refreshing. But how do you translate that into results? How do you know if your marketing is actually working?
Track your metrics. Are people engaging with your social media? Are they signing up for your email list? Are those subscribers becoming paying customers? By tracking those numbers, you can see what's working and what's not, then adjust your strategy as you go.
It's about being strategic, data-driven.
Exactly.
But even with the best marketing plan, word of mouth is still super powerful.
Right. Oh, absolutely. People trust recommendations from friends and family more than anything. Focus on delivering amazing customer service, building those relationships, creating something people love to talk about.
Creating those raving fans.
Exactly.
That's a great place to wrap up this part of our deep dive. When we come back, we'll be exploring advanced strategies for scaling your remote business and achieving that long-term success. Stay tuned. We're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of remote-friendly businesses. We've covered a lot of ground, from choosing the right business model to building a solid team and navigating those remote work challenges. But now, let's talk about scaling, taking your business to the next level.
It's exciting, isn't it? That stage where all your hard work and planning start to really pay off. It's about expanding your reach, achieving those entrepreneurial dreams.
Yeah, when I think of scaling, I kind of picture, massive growth, maybe even a fancy office with all the bells and whistles. But realistically, what does scaling actually look like for a remote business? Is it just about hiring more people, taking on tons of new clients?
It's more than just doing more of the same, that's for sure. It's about building a framework that allows you to grow sustainably without burning yourself out, without burning your team out.
Right, so working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
So what are some strategies entrepreneurs can use to effectively scale their remote operations? What are the secrets?
Well, having systems in place is a big one.
Systems.
Like automating repetitive tasks, figuring out how to streamline your workflows, documenting your processes.
So basically creating a well-oiled machine, one that can handle things even as your business gets bigger and more complex.
Exactly. It's about efficiency.
But let's be honest, setting up all those systems, it doesn't sound very exciting.
True, it's a lot of behind-the-scenes work.
Like a lot of unglamorous work.
But it's so worth it. Imagine having a clear onboarding process for every new team member. Imagine your email sequences just running themselves.
Oh, it's a good one.
A project management system that keeps everyone on track.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal.
It frees you up to focus on the big picture, product development, marketing, those key relationships.
So it's about building that foundation so you can step back from the day-to-day and think bigger. But I bet technology plays a big role in scaling a remote business too, doesn't it?
Oh, huge.
It's got to be more than just like your basic CRM or project management software.
Right, as you scale, your needs change. You might need to upgrade to a more powerful CRM that can handle all that customer data, or maybe a more sophisticated project management tool to manage a larger team and those more complex projects.
So it's about constantly evaluating, right? Making sure your tech stack is keeping up with your growth. Yeah. But that stuff can get expensive. How do you handle the financial side of scaling? Because it sounds like a big investment.
Yeah, it often requires some capital, but there are different funding options out there for remote entrepreneurs. It really depends on your situation.
Let's talk about those. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the early stages, bootstrap their business.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Basically funding your growth through your own profits. It's a good option if you're already making money and want to stay in control. You don't have to give up equity. You make your own decisions.
So it's all about being resourceful, reinvesting those profits back into the business. But what if you need a lot of capital, like to scale really fast or go after a big opportunity?
Then you might look at angel investors or venture capitalists.
Right.
They can provide capital, mentorship, connections.
Sounds kind of like Shark Tank, though, right?
A little bit.
What about crowdfunding? I've seen businesses raise millions through platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo.
Crowdfunding's become a legit option, especially for remote businesses with a strong community or a really cool product. It's a way to test your idea, see if there's interest, and raise money without giving up equity.
So it seems like there's a funding option for every situation. But no matter how you fund your growth, building a strong team is essential for scaling, right? How do you find and keep those amazing people, especially with so much competition in the remote world?
It goes beyond just salary and benefits, that's for sure.
Right. People want more.
Remote workers want to be part of something bigger, something meaningful. They want to feel valued, and they want that flexibility to create a good work-life balance.
So it's about company culture, right? Something that really resonates with remote workers.
Absolutely. Flexibility is huge. Being able to set their own hours, work from anywhere, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Especially for people with families or those who want to travel.
Exactly. And it's important to create a sense of community, too. Remote work can get lonely. You need to create those opportunities for people to connect, collaborate.
Like those virtual water cooler moments.
Yep.
What else can you do to make remote team members feel valued and appreciated?
Recognition. Rewarding good work. A simple thank you, a shout out in a meeting, those things go a long way.
It's about making people feel seen, even when you're not physically together. But as you grow, as things get busier, how do you prevent burnout for yourself and your team?
Boundaries are essential. Encourage your team and don't forget yourself to take breaks. Disconnect after work hours. Prioritize self-care.
That's good advice. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle, but neglecting your well-being is a recipe for disaster. What else helps with burnout?
Delegation. You can't do everything yourself. Learn to let go.
Trust your team.
Empower them to do their jobs. As an entrepreneur, you should be focusing on the high-level stuff. Strategy, vision, building those key relationships.
Right. You can't be the bottleneck for every decision. But even with the best strategies, there are going to be tough times. What would you say to someone who's feeling overwhelmed, discouraged, just feeling lost on this entrepreneurial journey?
Remember why you started.
That's good advice.
Reconnect with that vision, that passion, the impact you want to make. Take a step back, see how far you've come, and celebrate those wins.
Yeah, it's easy to lose sight of the big picture when you're in the thick of it. So those moments of reflection, of celebration, they're so important.
And find your people. Build a support system.
Your community.
Other entrepreneurs, mentors, coaches, people who get it. Share your struggles, celebrate your wins, support each other.
There's nothing like knowing you're not alone in all of this. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners out there who are dreaming of building their own remote business?
This remote work world is always changing. So stay curious, stay flexible, never stop learning. Don't be afraid to experiment, to take some risks, to embrace those unknowns. It's all part of the journey.
It's about that growth mindset.
Exactly.
And remember, you don't need all the answers right now.
You learn as you go.
You just have to be willing to take that first step. And never give up on your dream. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of remote-friendly businesses.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope this has given you the knowledge, the inspiration to go out there and build the business of your dreams from wherever you want. Be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more deep dives into the topics that matter to you. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.